let's quickly go across to Dr. Arvind Virmani, a member of the NITI Aayog. Arvind ji, namaste. We're speaking after a while. Thank you for your time. So a lot of relief for the middle class, but is it fair to the wealthy? While you're trying to help those who are not so able financially, but the financially able, the wealthy, to try and put some thing like automobiles and high-end luxury cars and bikes, etc., and some other things, along with, of course, tobacco and alcohol and cigarettes, etc. Isn't it a little socialist / communist to try and show that the wealthy have to pay more and they will be taxed more?
So firstly, I kind of feel very uncomfortable with the term sin goods, because there are basically 2 or 3 types of items in what is being popularly called by this word. One are what I called unhealthy goods, or you can call it a health tax, and this is a standard thing in economics of taxation, what we call negative externalities. So those are basically, the best example is tobacco and related products. That is not I don't look at it as a sin thing. I look at it as a health giving thing to discourage people. The second part is high income elasticity goods, which are necessary for ensuring that the revenue elasticity of the GST is positive, is more than 1, that as the GDP increases, the revenue with this increases faster than that, and those are things like large cars. I don't think the tax has been increased, because there used to be a whole bunch of cesses which will cease to apply at some point if they already not which have been abolished. I'm not sure, I have to read the fine print, but if they haven't gone now, they'll go later. So the effective tax burden on the large car is not increased. So that's not a correct interpretation. Just because it's gone from 28 to 40, if the offsetting cesses are gone, the effective rate is lower. So that is second category. And third category, a small amount maybe like betting and gambling, which I guess you could call as a sin good, is also being taxed as 40.
Yes. Your thoughts on whether this will further and spur Make in India? Is that what Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also implying when he says Swadeshi, domestic consumption, domestic manufacturing will go up?
So if you look at the structure of the economy, something like, and again these numbers are flexible depending on exactly where you look, somewhere between 75 and the 85% of the economy is informal. So both the consumption and the production is informal, because you can't produce, you're producing means somebody is buying, right? They're not just producing to dump them. So this is something we often forget, because we focus only on the 15-20% of the formal sector, which most of us are, including myself. So I'm not criticizing anybody. So what the PM is saying is that we have to give a lot more attention. There are lots of things in which quality is improving and further can be improved in the informal sector, and here I bring in other things like the quality of job skilling, etc., the Vishwakarma scheme. So it's all related, but specifically to your point, Atmanirbhar and Swadeshi, he has made very clear, even in Atmanirbhar, that we are talking not about protection, high cost, low quality. We want a Swadeshi which is higher quality and cost competitive. So that is the aim. The difficulty is there are so many things need to be done, which we are doing one by one, the infrastructure improvement, etc. But to come back to Swadeshi, it is just saying that at least go and look again at the products. There are so many handicrafts. I have had visitors from the US. When I show them some of these handicrafts, which are really very cheap here, and they say, wow, this is great, because you don't see that stuff out there. Okay, so what I think the PM's idea is not, he doesn't believe in forcing. It's not a question of protection or forcing people, but it's just to open their eyes, go and try. There are some very good items produced by the handicraft sector or the local textile sector or whatever. So that's the idea.
True, and Piyush Goyal ji also spoke about the same, that to try and create a domestic consumption market to offset perhaps the impact of the Trump tariffs on exporters, along with the fact that realize that there is so much more quality and great stuff, like you said, which is being made in Bharat, and if that can also be supplied to the world, that just creates more avenues for earnings in business. Finally, sir, let me ask you this. What do you think will be the measurable impact on Bharatiya economy in the near term, and also perhaps in the mid-term, because of these GST reforms?
Right, right. So there are three things which will happen, but it's very difficult to give you an exact time frame. They have different lags, but let me list you out and list them out, and then perhaps give a rough. So the immediate thing is obvious, which everybody is discussing, is the effect on consumption. So as you know, people have been saying urban consumption has been a little low compared to historical percentages and so on, shares. And so clearly the most immediate impact will be on the consumption and consumption distribution. The second one is that as this consumption picks up, for example, in consumer durables and cars, you would start seeing an increase in investment happening. And the third, which is intangible but will start happening immediately, but its effects are hard to time or to give a time frame, which is the fundamental improvement because of simplification of the system, where disputes etc. go down, voluntary compliance goes up, there are more people will come into, more producers who are on the borderline will come into the system, because the tariff, the GST rate is only 5% in many of these items. So that will have a huge improvement effect on productivity and efficiency over time, but it's the most difficult to measure and kind of give a time frame for. So all these three things will happen, let's say over the next 6 months to 2 years.
Right. Right. Arvind ji, thank you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for speaking with us and giving us a perspective.